Our course in Java is going to use Netbeans for the compiler. You can get your own copy for your home computer, and I highly recommend you do. So you go to netbeans.org and you click on the download page. Then this is version 7.2. It might change by the time you get there, but the important thing is ignore everything. You just want to go to this link here that says bundle. That's the keyword you're looking for. That means you install it as one package and everything will show up nice and neatly. Otherwise, you're going to have to look for pieces and make sure everything's there, or Netbeans won't work like you expect it to. So there's a link to this at the bottom of our course page under the Computer Science tab. You can go to the Start menu now and find your icon. It looks like this for Netbeans, so you can click on it and bring it up. Now this is what the software itself looks like. When you want to start here, we're going to start with a new project. So basically each one of your assignments or projects will get one of these things you'll walk through. So you click on the new project and you go to the Java application. And you need to give it a name. So I'm going to call this Hello World, which is usually the traditional first program in computer science. So when you do a main class, we'll set it as main project. That's the one you're working on. Usually that's the case that you want to do. And then the name of it here, main's not very descriptive. We'll call this like my first program, just so you can see where all this stuff shows up. So we'll click Finish, and Netbeans will do the work for us here, getting everything set up. And you'll see here that we're in a project called Hello World, that's bold, and the package name is also called Hello World. So packages in Java have this icon here. It looks like a little mail package, so that's what you're looking at when you see it. The name of it is My First Program. That's what we put in as our main class. So you don't really need to worry too much about this just yet, but the reason I'm telling you is they get these weird errors because, for example, myfirstprogram.java has to be the same as this here, or it won't work in Java. Java needs the same name there as the file name has. So if you were to go ahead and change this later in your program and call it like first program instead of my first program, Netbeans is going to get grumpy and say something's wrong. So it's one of those things that's kind of a frustrating first beginner programmer thing. So just watch for that. But let's get right into coding here. Once we get into a class has a collection of methods that we're going to use. Now methods are ways that we tell the computer to behave, like we give it some instructions and it executes those instructions. This is the most important one that we're going to be using, which is the main method. It always looks like this no matter what Java program you're in. This is the one and only main method for Java. The reason it's special is Java looks for this one method to start all your programs off. So you can have lots of different methods, and we'll get there, but you should know that this is where Java is going to go to get going in your program and begin things. So whatever code you put down here is going to be the first thing to execute. So that's what we're going to do, is we're going to type out some code. Now in Java, everything is object oriented, meaning we build objects and we tell the computer how these objects behave. So what I'm going to do with you is introduce you to a couple objects right now. So one of them is the system. And the system, if we want to access things in it, no matter what it is in Java, you use dot. So dot will tell you then what's available to use in that object. So in the system, there's all kinds of stuff, and some of it might not make much sense to you. But one nice thing about Netbeans is it links everything together. So for example, if you wanted to get the current time in milliseconds, that's what this method here does, and you can see there's a description of it for you. So the first thing we're doing is we're just going to be printing it out on the screen. So we want output. But output could go in multiple ways from the system, not just to your screen. So we have to specify where we're sending the output. So we're going to hit dot again. Now we're going to print it, and it's going to end up showing up on our screen. And there's a lot of different choices here for print. But anyways, Java can decide which one to use as long as we give it the right thing in the middle, and that's a string. So what I'm going to put in here is hello world. And I think traditionally there's a comma. Okay. So super simple program. I'll just recap it real quick. The system that I'm using is one of the objects in Java, and I'm looking for its output, and from the output I'm going to print hello world. So here's the output window in your program. If it's gone, what will happen is when I run this program with the play button, it'll show up when the program starts. So it's compiling it, everything's starting to run, and there's the output of my first program, hello world. So you can play around here and do things like, hello cool guy. Whatever you change in there, that's when you run the program, that's the command you're issuing, that's what's going to be printed. Now there's another sort of handy Java command, and that's the print line command. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move some of this around. I'm just going to copy and paste it down here. So this time I'm going to put in hello, and in here, oops, sorry, I'm going to put in cool guy. Now if I run it, what's going to happen is it prints them and it all jumbles together like this. You can see that hello and cool are together. If I give Java some more information and I say print a line, that ln tells Java I'm going to print a line, it'll stick a new line at the end. So when I run it, it goes hello, and then cool guy starts on a new line. So sometimes when you print out your text and you want to go down to the next line, that's one way to do it. There's another way of getting these special printing characters and formatting characters out, and that's called an escape character. Now, you can't go like this to print a new line. Well, Netbeans actually just, if I hit enter and it's on the next line there, nothing's going to change. It still prints the same. Now, I can't go like this either and just say, well, why don't we just print a new line in it? Now, Netbeans is trying to do all this auto-correcting for me, but there, okay. With the new line like that, and it's giving me all kinds of errors. The only way to get a new line is with a special character, and it has to be in the format that looks like this. So it'll be a backslash, that's the start of a special character, and then the next character that follows is the code. So \n, for example, means this is a new line. So right now you can see how it says build successful right there. I'm going to kick that down to the next line by putting this \n here. See, so that went to a new line. I could also just as easily change this to be print and put a \n there. Okay, so now when I run it, it's equivalent to what it was before. Another important special character that you're going to run into is the tab character. So this time there's no space in there, but the backslash says a special character is coming. The next character is a tab, \t. So now when you see it, cool guy, it's tabbed forward like that. And then the only other special characters we're going to really play with are the \quote and the \single quote. Because since this quote is something that is used to determine where a string is, so by string I mean a list of characters, Java knows that this isn't actually commands in Java, this is actually text. You have to surround it with quotes. So how do you stick a quote in the middle? If I go like that, then Java's going to think this is a Java quote, this is a Java command, and this is more text, and I'm missing, there's no end to it. So what we do is we escape it. We go escape and \quote, and now you'll see when I run it, maybe I'll put another quote into it as well. Now cool guy is going to be in quotes. So cool, oh, and I'm sorry, I did have the new line there still, so let me get rid of that. Cool guy is in quotes. And it works the same way with single quotes. Single quotes, you can of course do that just as it is, right? That'll run like you want it to. But you can also escape the single quote, because a single quote is also used in Java for a different thing. So single quotes can go either way. But basically those are the three things that you're going to need to know for the beginning, is that our special characters so far are the \n, the \t, \quote, and I'll tell you what they are here. And of course, how would you do a backslash? Well, maybe you're getting the hang of this by now. If I wanted to put a backslash in between cool guy, that's how I would do it. This says a special character is coming. What is the character? It's the backslash. So now when I run it, there's going to be cool/guy. So if I do a couple more, the thing that gets a little tricky is there's 4 backslashes, but only 2 are going to print, because it says special character, it's a backslash. Special character, it's a backslash. So now when I run it, I end up with 2 backslashes. Okay? So, a couple things that you, oh, and you know what, one other thing, I know there's a lot of rules when we get going, but trust me, this is all real simple stuff you won't even think about doing once we get going. It's just second nature once you get some practice. When you finish typing your commands, the reason that Java knows your command is finished is that you use a semicolon. So all these lines of code here have a semicolon on it to tell Java that's the end of my command. If I get rid of it, Java's going to get grumpy because now it doesn't know where to finish the command. So that's how you end up telling Java to stop looking, is you use a semicolon at the end of your line. Now, another thing in the code that you're probably looking at here, wondering why isn't Java complaining about this, is I have a double slash. Now a double slash tells Java this is an English comment, you can ignore it. So when Java compiles your program into machine language, it doesn't look at that backslash backslash, it just chucks it. So I can put anything I want here, like hello, this is a comment. The reason is that way when your programs get more difficult, you can leave notes to yourself or other programmers that might be sharing your library of code. That's very useful because you can imagine when you're working on problems that take hours or days, if not weeks to complete, sometimes you can't remember why you did something, but those notes will help do it for you. The other way to do it is instead of doing multiple lines like this and then typing a note to yourself, which you can do a multi-line quote. And a multi-line comment looks like this. It's slash star, then star slash. Anything in between there is just ignored. So you can type however you like, right? And Java doesn't pay any attention to it. It knows this is just English comments. Java has this little extra feature. If you go like this and add an extra star, then it knows, oh, it's time to make some Java comments. So all I had to do here was go slash star, add an extra star. As soon as I hit enter, Java fills in the rest for me. And now when I'm typing, as soon as I hit enter, it's still in the middle of the comments. So it's a little more convenient than having to space it out yourself. All right. Okay, so before we get into a little bit more coding and show you what your first assignment is going to be with this, I also want to show you that it doesn't matter, this is white space, it doesn't matter to Java where white space is. That only makes sense to humans, right? The machine doesn't know that there's white space in there or care about it. So I can literally make my program as messy as I want it. You know, I can make things go all over the place and it'll still run just the same as it did before. You know, it's however I want to organize it. The problem though is that it starts to get really messy and it's hard to read. So for humans that want to see your code, like me when I mark it, or your classmates when you're working on projects, it has to be neatly laid out because Java is hard enough to understand as a computer language without having to rearrange someone else's messy, sloppy typing. So you'll notice that every time something starts, everything's tabbed neatly and it's also aligned. For now, we're only going to be working in the main block, so you'll basically your code should be lined up to where it is with the other bits of code that we've started. So there's one more preliminary thing that I wanted to show you, and that is, I think I've said that twice now, but there's a lot of little basics that we have to get out of the way before we can start doing some actual programming, and that is the plus operator. So in Java, you can do things like System.out.print line 3 plus 5, and Java understands that you mean 8. Let me get rid of the text here just so we can talk about one thing at a time. So Java knows that you mean 8 when you ask for 3 plus 5. But there's another plus sign in Java, and that's when we have a string involved. So if I have 3 and 5, and those are strings, Java thinks you mean to join them together to 35. So it could be anything you like to join here, like it could be cool plus guy, and then when I run the program, it appears as one string. So one reason that this is useful to you is you're going to notice, right, I mean, you have some long string that you're typing, and you get to this red edge. This is your printable view. You're getting too far. How do you then keep going? Well, you start a string on the next line by using a plus. That way Java knows this string should be joined with the string you're starting down here. Do whatever you like. And then if you want to put the string on the next line, you have to add a plus sign so Java knows to join it and type in your text here. So the first assignment is going to require that you do this. There's some funny rules, and I'll show you how that works. If I go like this, 3, let's go 1 plus 2 plus 3. See if you can guess what's going to happen when I join them. I got 33. So the reason is when Java walks along, it sees a number here when it tries to add those together. So 1 plus 2 is 3. Then when it has 3 plus a string 3, the only way it can manage this plus symbol is if it assumes that you want to join it to a string. So if one of the operators is a string, then they both treat it as a string and they're joined together. However, if both operators are numbers, right, it could be 3 plus 3.5, then it's going to end up as 6.5, the number form of the plus sign. Okay, so the rule goes, if the plus sign has a string anywhere in it, so I'm joining a string with anything else, it's going to be a string that you get back. There's just going to be concatenated or joined together. Whereas if they are both numbers, you'll get numbers back. So your first assignment is going to be to create a poem. So I'll just show you a really lame one here. Well, I don't know about lame, but anyways, we'll do roses are red and violets are blue. And I think it's sugar is sweet and so are you. So here's my poem this way. So your first job is to go and get a poem, or it could be a song if you want the lyrics to a song, but that's what I want you to get for me. You pick one that you like and have it printed out in Java, okay? And when that'll be our first one, so you can take that and leave a little note. It'll save us a lot of paper. You can go like this and put poem exercise number 1. Something like that, so that I can find it in your program. And then it's helpful if you leave a little bit of space and you can put your second exercise. So this one is going to be the address exercise. And there's one rule when you do this one. You're only allowed one System.out.print line, or print, whichever one you want to use, but you're only allowed one of them. Everything that comes in here has to be used with tabs, new lines, that kind of thing. And I want to see a nicely formatted name, address, phone number type, something that will look like a business card. So I'll show you an example with Johnston Heights. So Johnston Heights is the name, and then I have to go to the next line, so I'd have to put in a new line character here so that it's going to show up on the next spot. Then the next thing I'm going to do is put in the address. And I'm going to end up with, let's see here, we're in Surrey, BC, V3R, R9, and the telephone number there was 581 5500. Okay. So if we look at this, it's going to print the way I expected it. It's all jammed in together here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some extra space here. Just to separate my output, I'll put some new lines in there. And now I've got this gap here. So I can see exercise 1, exercise 2. And although this prints like I'd like it to be shown, in a nice, neat format, it doesn't look very good for the Java code. So what I want you to do is make the change here that I want you to separate this. So stop that string and join it with this one, but we'll move it to a new line. And that's just going to make it visually easier for us to see what's happening in our code. And I'm just going to do this all the way through. Oops, and of course I forgot to join my strings up there. And I need a new line for that to continue. And then I should be done. So in this exercise, you get one System.out.print line. You have to have new lines that connected together with the plus symbol so that way I can see that you know how to join your strings together and that you can use the new line character, the escape character. So the last part of your set of exercises is going to be, we'll call this the friend table. So leave some space. We'll call this the friend table exercise, which is number 3. And what I want you to do is I want you to print it out so that your output is in a nice neat table. And the way the table is going to look, I'll just show you an example here, is I want it to print like this: name, age, and something like favorite sport or hobby. Okay, so why don't we just call it hobby. So first thing you're going to need is a header. And let's put the header in. Name. And again, you're going to have to use special characters here. So we're going to line them up with the tab as our for our columns. And hobby is the last column. So there's my heading. If I was to run this program now, well, you see there, I'm going to separate those a little bit more as well. We'll put a new line there, give it a bit more space so you can see them between. So now, friend table exercise, name, age, hobby. I'm going to actually add a little more space to this column because names tend to be longer, ages are shorter, and then the hobby can be as long as I want it. So let's add some people in here. You can go around and ask a couple of your classmates. So for example, let's just say it was John Doe. Yeah, I know, really creative, right? And let's say John is 16. And let's just say Jane Doe. And let's say that she is 17. And let's say that John likes to play, I don't know, we're in Canada here, so we'll do hockey. And Jane likes to play, or at least her hobby is curling. So now when I run it, the friend table, well, it's not quite lined up. So maybe what we'll do is we'll take off the tabs there and see if that'll fix it for us. And I guess I only need the one. Okay, well, I'm having a few formatting issues here, but that's not the point of our exercise, so we won't worry about that. For the most part, it is the formatting and the special characters I'm going to want to see. So if it didn't work out perfectly in your tables, that's okay. There are different classes in Java to handle this nicer, but I guess if we do it just with first names, it will probably come out the way we expect. Oh, there's 2 here. There's only supposed to be 1. Okay, that's better. So one thing that you should, just a good thing to know about Netbeans, when you get weird errors and you swear that it's not your fault, it's a good idea to clean the project. So clean and build it. If there's been any weird meddling or anything that needs to be tidied up, that'll do it for you usually most of the time. The shortcut keys for pressing to run your program here is F6. So sometimes if you want to keep hitting the mouse, you can just hit F6. And if you have more than one going, you can run the current program by hitting Shift F6. Okay, so for now, those are the 3 exercises on basic output and escape characters that you need to work on. Please pay attention to the fact that you have to use the string concatenation. Also choose at least 4 friends when you make the table up. Okay, you could change the headings around as long as I can see that you're using the tab character as well as outputting your text.